What's up, guys? Episode 4. I just ran a poll on my socials, and one of the things that y'all want to hear more about is sales. So I think that what I'll do is I'm probably going to do 1 out of the 3 episodes that I upload a week. We might talk a little bit more communication. We might talk more sales directed stuff. And as you all know, if you have watched me on socials, everything is a sale at the end of the day. You're either selling or being sold at any point in time, even if it's where you want to go to eat and someone else doesn't, and you convince them to go there, or you talk someone into or your partner going on vacation somewhere instead of they going to the spot that they want to go to. You decide to do something versus someone else deciding to do something, and you have to go along with what they do. So on and so forth. I mean, you could give a million examples. Everything in life really is a sale. Everything is, but if you pan out even more than that, it's communication. And learning how to communicate properly is important. Why wouldn't it be the most important skill if that is the number one thing that we humans do on a day-to-day basis? Unless you are just sitting behind a fucking screen all day and not talking to anybody, well then, hey, yeah, you have a point. Outside of that, communication really is the end-all, be-all. And for those of you guys that don't know, I do door-to-door sales. That's all in person, right? You knock on a door, they open up the door, and you conduct a sale. That's how that works. What I see a lot of, most new guys and gals doing is it either takes them a very, very long time to get out of sounding like a robot and into just sounding like a person, right? That's tonality and voice inflection. And I am building out a course on this, by the way. Courses will be available for certain things that you'll see in the future, not now. It's being built. One of the sections that I will be building out on is what I'm going to go over today. I'm going to give you guys some free game, okay? And with this all being said, I'm certainly not the best sales guy. Not in my company. Certainly not in the world. Would I say I'm in the better half of that group that is sales and direct sales? I think so. With that being said, take this with a grain of salt, but this is something that I see a big problem with, okay? And when I see a lot of these top trainers and these top sales guys talking their shit and training on stuff, they talk a lot about how, and it's very much, it runs parallel to when you talk about the medical industry and they prescribe something to fix an issue. They say how, or do this instead of this. It's very prescription when you look at it at base layer. It's hey, do this instead of this. Say it like this instead of that. Instead of talking about why. If we talk about why something develops from one thing into another, a lot of you guys are going to fix this issue that you're having if you do person-to-person sales, direct sales, or even over the phone. If one person is talking to another person, this is direct sales. If you figure out the why, which I'm going to explain right now, you can solve your issue a lot faster. When I have a lot of people that shadow me, and I have a rep that's with me, a new rep or even an older rep, and after we're done with the day, one of the first things I hear, or one of the most common themes, is this question: why does it sound natural? Why does it sound like a conversation when you're talking to somebody? Why it doesn't? I've heard the comment many times. It doesn't sound like you're pitching them, and then you end up getting a deal or setting a solid appointment. The reason being, right? This is tonality and voice inflection, but why does it sound like that? Obviously, confidence plays into this, and you get confidence by knowing your product, okay? But it has a lot more to do with you believing in your product. It has a lot more to do with you having confidence in your products. If you don't believe in your products, why would you talk in a way that sounds passionate and talk in a way where you have trust and confidence in that product? Why would it sound like that if you don't have trust and confidence in your product? And a lot of you guys either A, which is the biggest problem, you do not study your product enough. You can only get so far if you do not know shit. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where, now if it's a multi-step sales process and you're a very emotional seller, you like talking to people, and you can get them that first step of the way. I see a lot of people doing that, but then the deals always fall through because you never sold the product. You just kind of sold an emotional connection with that person, right? To get a deal from start to finish and be successful at doing that over and over and over again, repetitiously, you need to have that emotion, but you need to be confident in your product. That's how you start sounding more like a person and less like a robot. I hear it all the time. People always say, I don't know how to sound natural. I just don't know how to just have a conversation. How do you sound like it's just a conversation? How do you sound like it's, it didn't even sound like you're pitching. It comes up so much. And the problem that you are having, if you feel like you sound like a robot, and most of you guys are, I hear it a lot, it still sounds like just a pitch. And that's why doors are being slammed in the face so much. That's why calls are being hung up on so much. People don't want to hear it because this is the shit they hear every single day. You cannot sound like that if you want to have a minute or even less. If you want to have 30 seconds to pitch a product and talk about a product, well, you can't sound like the robot that this person heard 30 times before you. You have to sound like a person. It has to be barbecue talk. One of my mentors and very, very good friends, he used that term, and it stuck with me a lot, is barbecue talk. You want to sound like you're just shooting the breeze with somebody at a barbecue versus, hi, how you going? I work with so-and-so. We do this. Have you ever heard of us before? It's garbage. People are going to slam the door on you 9 times out of 10 if you sound like that. Let me ask you this. Think about this, okay? If you hated baseball and I gave you the job to sell tickets to a baseball game, how well do you think you would do? You might be able to goof it a little bit of the way. You might be able to pretend. You might be able to act. Sure. If you're good at talking to someone and you can establish an emotional connection, you might be able to get a decent result. But are you looking for decent, or are you looking for great? Are you wondering why this person or persons consistently do better than you on a weekly basis whenever they so feel like it, and you can't seem to get that next level? You can't seem to get there to do the numbers that these other folks that you're looking at are getting? It's because you're lacking that confidence in your product. A lot of the times, from person to person, you might not like the product that I like. You might not have confidence in the company like I have confidence in the company. There are a lot of companies out there that have a sales department, but their product sucks, their culture blows, it's a shitty company, and you know that. How can you tell someone to trust a product and expect them to trust the product if you do not trust the product? How? How can you tell them about a product and get them to like that product or like that service if you don't know every fucking thing about the service or product? How? So it's not, I could teach you how to talk better, but you're never going to talk the way that you need to talk to be great if you're not passionate about that product. That's how you get from the level of sounding like a robot or sounding like you just have a generic pitch that everyone sounds like. That's how everyone sounds. That's how 90% of new sales reps or people that don't like what they're selling sound like. It's because there's no passion behind it. And it's because you don't study your shit. So the two things that you can do today to change your process tomorrow and sound more confident on the door, because confidence comes from knowing your shit, and it comes from doing the reps, and it comes from belief. Reps, knowledge, belief. Okay? I believe in my product so much. I believe in it so much that I stand on a solid foundation every single time I stand in front of a person and talk about it. That is why I can jump in and out of a conversation as well, because I know my product. I know it inside and out. When you read whatever you guys are selling, most of the time there's something that has to be signed, right? You have to sign a contract or sign an agreement or sign an application. If you don't know every fucking word of what you're passing over to somebody, you're not going to feel good at the end of the day. You might be able to excel at the job to an extent, but you're always going to hit that wall. And for most of you, if you don't know the product and you don't know what you're having someone sign, you don't know what you're selling fully, there's only the very, very exceptional human beings, I'm talking anomalies in the sales game, can maybe get past that hump where they're so good at acting and so good at talking that they can sell you some shit. That's likely not you that's watching this video right now. You need to believe in your product. I believe in it so much that no one's gonna move me with whatever stupid objection comes out of their mouths, because it's just an objection. It's just a smokescreen at the end of the day. If I know my product inside and out and I believe in it, no one's gonna touch me, right? So why aren't you doing that? If this is your career and this is your job that's going to supposedly change your life or supposedly put you on a better path and supposedly get you to your goal that you want to get to, wouldn't you want to know your product better than anyone? If that doesn't make sense to you, then it's never going to. And if after watching this video something clicked and you either said, I don't really like what I sell, then it's time for you to work with a company that you do like to work for, and you do believe in the culture, and you do like their products. And once you do believe and like in a product and you like where you work, then maybe that'll make you study the product inside and out. Maybe then that'll make you want to learn about it versus just saying, I have to sell this thing. Does that make sense? It should make sense. So when it comes to tonality and voice inflection, again, all these top guys that teach on it, that try to give advice on how you can talk better, it's great and all, and there is something to learn there, but you really start to work on tonality, and tonality starts to sound natural, and your voice naturally inflects in and out, and it sounds good, and it sounds like a conversation. Hey, how you doing? It sounds like a conversation when you're comfortable and confident with belief. So it's not how to do it, it's why. Why are you not sounding like that? I'll tell you why you're not sounding like that, and then I'll tell you how to. It starts with why. It starts with the root. So go back, sit down tonight, or sit down after this video and think long and hard. Have you done the due diligence to do the research on your product? And a lot of the times I find with a lot of people, when I'm talking to them one-on-one and I'm working with them one-on-one, or they come out and they shadow me, they haven't read any details on the product. They just kind of learn to be a robot and say what they've heard to be said. And if you don't know the product inside and out, there's no chance that you would have established belief with that product to begin with, or that service. Maybe if you did all the deep research that you needed to do to establish that belief with yourself, then you'd kill all the birds with one stone. You'd get it done the right way. And then you'd be a better rep. You'd be a better sales professional on that door or on that phone call tomorrow. Think about that, guys. I hope it helped. See you guys on Friday. Talk soon.